All right, it is Monday, April 13th, 2026, 7 p.m. at City Hall.
So how does it work?
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
So DFR is the program.
You guys gonna demo the drones in here? You guys gonna demo the drones inside?
Okay, we'll go ahead and call tonight's meeting to order. If anyone please stand for pledge of allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pate,
Here.
Councilmember Shavetta,
Here.
Councilmember Kuzmeyer, Councilmember Hans,
Here.
Councilmember Caldwell, Councilmember Leahy,
Here.
Councilmember Ryder,
Here.
Councilmember Silvers,
Here.
Councilmember Yagich.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item this evening is public items. Members of the public are encouraged to use this time to make comments about matters directly related to the city's programs and services. Comments related to a matter or topic on the city council agenda that is subject to a public hearing should be provided during the scheduled public hearing, not during the public comment period. Please note, individuals making public comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The city reserves the right to refuse public comments which are inconsistent with the parameters established for the governing bodies or the rules and procedures. I do have a sign-up sheet which has a list of people on it so far. I will call these in order. If there's anybody that did not get signed in, we'll call you after this list is complete. First person on the list is Crystal Fritz. If you can come forward, Crystal, we'll give your name and address for the record and tell us, you've got 3 minutes to tell us what you'd like to tell us.
Hello, my name is Crystal Fritz. I live at 8810 West 71st Terrace. Oh, do I need to say anything? Yes, my name is Crystal Fritz. I live at 8810 West 71st Terrace. Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I am here to talk to you as a concerned citizen. I want to ask you to consider creating a lawful immigration enforcement response plan that centers on the safety and well-being of everyone in our community. This issue is not one that's abstract. It affects our neighbors, our coworkers, the parents of children in our schools, and small business owners who contribute to our economy every single day. When there's fear and confusion around immigration enforcement, which there is now, people may hesitate to report crimes, they may hesitate to seek care, they may even hesitate to cooperate with our local law enforcement, which makes all of us less safe. Having a plan, I'm not asking you to go against federal or state laws, it just means I want you to be clear about where Merriam stands in relation to what we will and what we won't do. Because when there's confusion and fear, you have unintended consequences. I'm asking you to consider a plan that establishes clear procedures for if ICE comes to our public facilities, that does not collect or store information about citizenship or national origin unnecessarily, and doesn't transfer individuals from city custody solely for immigration purposes. Cities nearby, like our neighbor in Roland Park, have already adopted similar approaches, not as a political stance, but as a way to promote clarity and public safety. This is not about being reactive. We want to be proactive. Without a plan, we risk continued fear and confusion. I'm a mom and also a special education teacher, and I see every day how important it is to be proactive and create systems that support people before there's ever a problem. So I'm just asking that you take the same approach for our city and keep our community safe, informed, and strong. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Fritz. Next Next individual up this evening is Cynthia Lucas. You can come forward, give your name and address for the record, please.
Thank you. My name is Cynthia Lucas, 8920 West 48th Terrace in Merriam. And hello, Mayor and council members. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today about a matter important to me and our community. I would like to ask you to create and implement an immigration enforcement response plan that will protect our immigrant community. 2 decades ago, I served on a city council in another city in another state, Scottsdale, Arizona. Then we thought the only issues we would ever face would be local, or perhaps issues affected by the county and state. But when 9/11 occurred and a man in a turban was murdered in the street of the city next to us, we quickly learned how a national issue can impact the safety of our own local residents. I am certain that you have considered creating such an immigrant enforcement plan, or if you have maybe even begun one, I request that you make it clear and simple for all city employees to implement, such as when ICE would arrive at a place of their work, such as a swimming pool or a library, for example. I also ask that you keep the physical safety and security of all residents, including our immigrant community, uppermost in your mind. As has already been mentioned, Roland Park has developed such a plan, and I suggest you could use it as a blueprint, a framework, or even just for ideas, so you don't have to start from scratch. And if you did that, there could be a coherence among our network of towns in the area. Our community appreciates your attention to this matter, and we appreciate your service. Thank you for listening to my concern.
Thank you, Ms. Lucas. Next person up this evening would be Nathan Mead. Name and address for the record, sir.
Good evening all, my name is Nathan Mead, I live at 10,008 West 70th Street. I'm here to talk to you about a problem I've had for off and on for 10 years. I've had a nice little discussion with the chief over here, so probably I'm gonna make this very short and sweet. I have a lot of speeders that come up our street, and I have 25 kids on our block that need to be protected, and these people just come through doing 40, 50 miles an hour through here, and with the new construction down at 75th Street, it all gets funneled right through our neighborhood. And it's very difficult to get them to slow down. They don't care who's out in the street, they don't care whatever, and it's just a problem that has been ongoing even before the construction started. So I'm hoping that you guys could formulate an idea or a plan to quell the majority of the speeders, whether it be maybe institute a temporary speed cushion or something of the like that Overland Park is in the process of putting into practice down in some of their neighborhoods, just to quell the speeders in the area. Again, I've had a nice little conversation with the chief, and you know, he's given me some ideas, and I will continue to bug them and all of that, and I just would appreciate any kind of, you know, idea or plan that we can put into practice to get those people to stop. And that's all I need. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming forward this evening, sir, and you talked to the right person, so you're good. All right, next person up will be Matthew Jimenez. Sir, come forward, give your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Matthew Jimenez. I live at 8418 West 55th Terrace. Good evening. I'm a resident of Merriam and a concerned citizen. My concerns are for the public safety of our community, our neighbors, regardless of citizenship or immigration status. Undoubtedly, this council is aware of the unpopular and sometimes dangerous actions of ICE. Many communities have responded by organizing, protesting, and learning ways to protect our neighbors. I'm here today to ask what our city can do, how we can set an example for neighboring cities to follow. I'm asking which, if any, municipal resources are being consumed by federal immigration enforcement when they are not legally compelled. In 2020, Roland Park passed Ordinance 1005 establishing the Protecting Public Safety and Community Resources Act. I encourage similar policies and ordinances to be adopted in Merriam. Additionally, I encourage the revision of existing policies and ordinances to confirm the term person or resident rather than citizen. I also have a note from our group I'd like to hand off to City Clerk, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for it, sir. Our city clerk will take it from you. Well, are you, yeah. I'll pass it.
Thank you so much.
Okay, that was the last person that had officially signed up this evening, but that doesn't preclude anyone from coming forward at this time that would like to speak. Okay, so, please go forward, name and address for record.
Greetings, Billy Cronin, 6633 West Street. I would like to echo what we heard from Crystal and Cynthia and Matthew. I have sought transparency from the city for a while to try to get something on our website that said clearly what our city's policy was regarding immigration and to what extent we cooperate with ICE. I've been concerned for years with AI surveillance cameras that have been bought and paid for by our city's tax money. Our city's been using a system, I think, from Motorola. Other cities use Flock, and ICE has used Flock heavily throughout the country to track down immigrants. It is a very organized system. I don't know if the brand that we're using today cooperates with ICE, but they might tomorrow. That data is there, it could be subpoenaed by them, or they could get it somehow, I don't know. It's a risk to have that data on innocent people being collected all the time. And you can go to chrome.org/alper to see some very real examples of how that's been abused, violently so, in the state of Kansas. There's other national examples, but I've focused on Kansas examples of abuse of Alper before. So I would encourage the city to stop growing its Alper network, out the automated license plate readers, and really back that off. I'll second what Nathan said as well about speeding. It's something that I heard from a lot of residents last year when I was knocking on doors. Residents are concerned. They're concerned for the safety of their families and of their communities. And I brought this to the attention of city staff, and I was told that it's merely a perception problem, that there's not actually a speeding problem in Merriam. And that's shocking, and I found that kind of dismissive. But if that is the case, then there should at least be data. Again, I'm very pro-transparency. Whatever data we have to back that assertion up needs to be public, so that we can have a rational discussion about it. We should publish our policies on to what degree we interact with ICE. We should disclose when we have in the past. Maybe there should be some statements that we've interacted 20 times before. You probably can't give names, but you can say like once a month or 5 times a year, or how often that happens here in Merriam. That's information that we deserve to know as residents. I hope you can commit to that transparency, Bob.
Is there anyone else that would like to come forward this evening? See no one coming to the podium? We'll close out the public portion of public items. Okay, next is the mayor's report, and I'm happy to report that we have numerous proclamations this evening.
We have the consent agenda.
Oh, excuse me, no, I missed one. I apologize for that. Let me back that up. We have an item information for an audit services. Who's handling that this evening? All of them, excuse me. Yeah. We have consent items that has 2 items on it. I'm completely lost this evening, I apologize. Okay, consent items. Okay, all items under this heading are considered to be routine by the city council, may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which case that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. We do have 2 items on that consent agenda. One of them is the minutes, and the second one was the 2025 audit services report. So, is either one of those items removed before we vote on that? Okay, we don't, I would never get a motion for that. Go ahead, Mr. Sellers.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that the council approve consent agenda items 1 and 2.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second? Ms. Shadridge. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Vedder.
Mr. Mayor,
I don't know where I've been this evening. We have a motion to second, Madam Clerk, please work promises is only.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Hans.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodovich.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now let's focus now, we're down to mayor's report, sir. Forwarded that to report. And I can have a copy of the motions. Somebody send it. All right. Well, okay, so we're back to the first proclamation. somebody's gonna get this in a moment, but, I would like to read it first, and then, I will call this individual forward and, come down and present it to them. And this is, whereas, 7 Days Makes a Ripple, Change the World is an annual series of events demonstrating how hatred, bigotry, and ignorance can be overcome by kindness, respect, and understanding. And whereas 7 Days commemorates the lives of Dr. William Corcoran, his grandson Reed Underwood, and Teresa Lamano, who were murdered on April 13, 2014, by encouraging all people to discover commonalities and overcome evil acts with kindness. And whereas 7 Days 2026 is April 20th through the April 28th, it focuses on kindness through activities with the daily themes of love, discover, you, others, connect, go, and onward. And whereas Merriam is committed to being a community where kindness is key and understanding paramount, and strongly supports a partnership with worthy outreach effort by conducting 7 Days of Kindness activities. And therefore, I, Bob Pate, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of Merriam, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 20th and 28th, April 2026, as 7 Days of Kindness Week in the city of Merriam. I encourage all residents, businesses, organizations, and visitors to come together to be more understanding of differences and to act more kindly to others, thereby making the world a better place, one ripple at a time. Proclaimed on this 13th day of April 2026, Bob Pate, Mayor. And we have Stephanie O'Sullivan, who's on the board of directors. Stephanie, if you come forward, I'll give you a moment if you want to say a few words, and I'm going to present this to you.
Okay, sure. You want me to stand right here?
Sure.
Is this okay?
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pate and the City Council and the citizens of Merriam for agreeing to have Merriam be a kindness city. I know you have done it for several years. We really appreciate it. I am on the vice chair for the board of directors for 7 Days. I think it's a great organization. I believe in the power of kindness and our mission, which is to overcome hate through education and dialogue. And thank you for all the things you mentioned in the proclamation. We have Kindness Week coming up. Also, I want to invite everyone. We have a kindness breakfast on April 23rd. It's at Church of the Resurrection in Leawood. You're invited. We have a website where you can find more information. It's 7days.org. Also, I want to mention, I think right outside here, we left some materials for people if you want to pick some up. We have some kindness stickers. We have some kindness cards. And we also have a bookmark. It's an elementary school reading list for kindness books. So, that is, yes, thank you. If I could get a picture with you,
Yes,
that'd be
look, I'm
great.
right there. We're gonna hand this to you, we'll get a picture.
Thank you.
Present this to you. Good.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to recognize an act of kindness that I actually got to witness. I was part of it. I wasn't the kind person, but I was at Quick Trip the other day, and I was about 20 feet away from the door still, and somebody, a young couple, literally stopped to hold the door for me. I know it's because they thought I was old. I may not make it, but I was impressed that they would wait that long to hold that door for me to get in. A little act of kindness going on right here in Merriam. So, our next proclamation this evening is gun safety awareness. Okay. So I would like to read this first, and then we have an individual that will come forward and I'll present that to them as well. Whereas the safety of residents, including children, teens, adults, and seniors, is a fundamental priority of the city of Merriam, and whereas unauthorized access to firearms contributes to preventable injuries, deaths, and tragedies, including accidental shootings and suicides, and whereas research indicates that secure storage of firearms, defined as keeping firearms unloaded, locked, and separate from ammunition, significantly reduces the risk of suicide and unintentional injury. And whereas securing firearms is a voluntary and responsible practice that respects the rights of lawful gun owners while prioritizing the safety of children, families, and the community. And whereas the city of Merriam recognizes the importance of partnerships among healthcare providers, schools, veteran organizations, public safety agencies, and community groups to provide secure storage, information, and resources to residents. Now, I, Bob Pape, the mayor of the city of Merriam, do hereby proclaim April 20th, 2026, therefore, as Gun Safety Awareness Day in Merriam. We urge all residents to increase awareness of secure gun storage practices in order to improve safety outcomes and save lives. Claim this 13th day of April 2026 from the mayor. We have gun locks that are being provided free of charge from our police department. I have one here, but we have more out on the table, and those can also be picked up here at either City Hall or the police department. Free gun locks. But I think I have before me this evening, Carla Oppenheimer?
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Mayor and City Council. I'm with Grandparents for Gun Safety, and we have been working with the legislature for probably 5 years to try to get this same thing passed. It was not working, so we decided to come to the people. And Merriam is the first city to sign it and be presented to our organization, and I thank you so much for that. As part of Grandparents, we also give away gun locks, so it's wonderful to see that the City Council is engaging in the same practice to keep everybody in Kansas, especially people in Merriam, safe. So thank you so much, really appreciate it.
Now, if you're hang on just a moment, I'll come down there and present this to you and get a picture.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it, thank you.
Next up, a proclamation. Whereas more than 400,000 Americans are alive today thanks to the generosity and courage of organ donors, and whereas during National Donate Life Month, we honor donors and the families who have turned pain into purpose by sharing the gift of life with loved ones or those whom they have never met. And whereas more than 100,000 people, including 2,100 children, are currently on the National Transplant Waiting List, and more than 6,000 Americans die each year while waiting for a life-saving organ transplant. And whereas in Kansas, nearly 500 people are on a waiting list to receive life-saving transplants, and whereas we have the power to change that, as one person can save up to 8 lives through organ donation after they die and improve another 75 lives through eye and tissue donation, and thousands of others can choose to donate an organ while still living. And whereas while transplantation continues to increase substantially and meet the needs of many people with organ failure, we must continue our efforts to shorten the waiting list and encourage organ donation. Now therefore, I, Bob Pape, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of Merriam, Kansas, do hereby proclaim April 2026 as National Donate Life Month. With this year's theme of trees as a symbol of life and connection, I encourage every person in our community to celebrate the gift of life by becoming an organ, eye, tissue, or bone marrow donor. Proclaimed on this 13th day of April 2026, Bob Pape, Mayor. I don't have anyone to present this to, but I don't know how many of you, I know I'm an organ donor, so I'm not getting mine yet. Hopefully I will go get these someday. Okay. Encourage all of you to please get out there, put it on your driver's license. Okay, the last one I have this evening for proclamations is, whereas pollinators such as bees, butterflies, birds, and other beneficial insects and wildlife play a crucial role in maintaining healthy ecosystems, supporting biodiversity, and sustaining agricultural productivity. And whereas the city of Merriam, Kansas is committed to supporting farmers, gardeners, beekeepers, and conservationists who depend on pollinators to ensure continued production of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and flowers that contribute to the food supply, economy, and natural beauty. And whereas pollinators are essential to food security and nutrition for people around the world, and whereas Merriam residents, businesses, and communities can support pollinator health by planting native flowers, reducing pesticide use, and protecting natural habitats that sustain pollinator populations, and whereas Pollinator Week is an opportunity to raise awareness of the importance of pollinators and encourage conservation efforts. Now therefore, I, Bob Pate, by virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of Merriam, Kansas, do hereby proclaim June 22nd through the 28th, 2026 as Pollinator Week in the city of Merriam. And do hereby urge all citizens to become aware of and support efforts to protect and promote pollinators by engaging in conservation initiatives and foster pollinator-friendly environments. Proclaimed on the 13th day of April 2026 by the mayor. I don't think I have anyone to present that to, but I believe that that's a work the way you represent SRPs. Okay, next up, I guess, is employee services. Let's first start, Mr. Ingram.
Yeah, if I could get the mayor to come down. This is where we recognize our employees that have hit a benchmark point of service, some 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years of service. We used to do this once a year. For the last several years, we've broken this up into quarters just so we can spread it out a little bit and recognize folks, give a little bit more attention for their great deeds and the longevity that they've had with our organization. The first individual that we'll be recognizing is not here this evening, but with 5 years of dedicated service to our Park and Rec department is Joey Segura, who's probably working right now with you, not yet. It is cool. Okay. So let's give a round of applause to Joey. And then we do have in attendance tonight with 10 years of dedicated service to our police department, Matthew Hirsch. Well, the mayor's sitting down, I'll also acknowledge a thing that we started doing about a year ago, which is the introduction of some of our new employees. I think we maybe have 2 in the room this evening. I'll announce a couple that I don't believe are here, but just acknowledge that they're here so that the council and the public know that we have some new employees. We've got Daytona Lutz, who is with our police department. He's not here, but he's in the academy. We also have Francis Pierre, who's new to our police department. He is with the academy. Amy Har, who is will be at the front counter, will be one of the friendly faces that you see at the admin counter. She unfortunately couldn't be here this evening, as neither could Owen Gregory, who is our new IT assistant. All of them are not here, but I believe we do have Colton Cook with our police department is here. Welcome to our police department, and then we've got Noah Rodriguez, also brand new to the police department. We welcome you, and we hope that you as residents will embrace them and give them a high five whenever you see them walking down the streets.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ingram, and welcome new employees. Okay, looks like next item up would be a legislative update. Is that correct? It's gonna be- Pardon your name, Mallory, and your organization you're with.
Yes, Mallory Lutz with Little Government Relations. Can you all, okay, perfect, thank you. And it feels like just last week that I was here for the pre-session update, and it was, 20 degrees outside and we all had our winter gear on. This truly, and I'm sure maybe from your all's perspective as well, it felt like a very, very fast session. The legislature adjourned very late Saturday at about 1:30 in the morning, and so I'm here to basically tell you where everything wrapped up when they finally went home. So, kind of at the top of everybody's minds, of course, the tax bills, property taxes have been kind of the main thing all session, and basically they went home and they sent the governor 2 tax bills that she will, of course, have the chance and kind of the final say to do with what she wants. One of those is House Bill 2043. You all probably know that better as House Bill 2745. I think we passed testimony back and forth on that bill many, many times this session. That, of course, is the property tax revenue growth cap, the 3% or the Midwest CPIU cap, and the legislature made a few changes to that. They ultimately excluded school districts from it, but it still has the 10% protest petition, and they actually changed that back to 10% of voters in the last Secretary of State race. So pretty low threshold there for you. So if I had to guess what she will do with that bill, I would assume she vetoes it, but she will have a lot of people coming to her office and notes landing on her desk within the next 10 days. She has 10 days. When that bill gets to her desk, it has not arrived to her desk yet. So let's say it gets there tomorrow. Wednesday then would start that 10-day clock. So I don't think she'll need to take much time. She probably knows what she's going to do with it since it so closely resembles 2745, but we will be closely watching that. And then the other tax bill that they sent to her is 2044, and that essentially is just making some changes to the Safe Senior Homestead Property Tax Act, and basically if eligible seniors' home valuation goes above the threshold, they wouldn't be kicked off simply because of that. So pretty straightforward bill, and I assume that gets approved pretty easily. Just a couple other big picture items before we get into some of the other policy things that either passed or did not. Probably everybody knows it is an election year, and all 125 members of the House will be up for election, as well as we are headed into a very, very crowded gubernatorial race. And both the Senate President and the Speaker of the House are running for statewide office. So there will definitely be changes on the House side, House leadership side. We'll see on the Senate side, but House leadership will look different next year. We'll have a new Speaker of the House, probably be Majority Leader Croft, and then of course we'll have new Majority Leader and Speaker Pro Tem. So I already kind of went over 2043, but to recap a little bit of the saga of the constitutional amendments that ultimately failed multiple times. The Senate, I think 3 times this session, sent an iteration of 1603 over. This would have somehow looked to cap assessed valuation increases, and what they ultimately settled on, and again ultimately failed in the House, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but it would have been it would have gone on the November ballot and basically would have said this gives the 2027 legislature the authority to address the evaluation process and to, if they so choose, limit assessed valuation. So very vague, and you're essentially giving a legislature that you have to get elected the authority to make changes. So that did not go anywhere again. And then I already went over 2044. So that's kind of where property taxes ended up. And again, we will see how the governor responds on 2043. And then we have a whole host of policy issues that did pass, some good and some not so good. So World Cup, this bill does several different things. There were a handful of bills dealing with different aspects of the World Cup, and they bundled them all together in the end. One of them makes some changes to transient guest tax collection. I think in the beginning we were really hopeful that they were going to change current law and take it from 2 bedrooms to 1 bedroom where you could collect transient guest tax. And then they amended it to, well, you have to have 3 or more bedrooms in order to collect transient guest tax, and I think that was an inadvertent, they didn't really mean to do that. So in the end, they just took it back to current law, 2 or more bedrooms, you can collect transient guest tax. They did make changes to, if you have a policy on short-term rentals, basically those are null and void during the period of the World Cup, which they define as May 15th through July 25th. So some folks are not too happy about that. And then lastly, the 23-7 opt-in for liquor sales. So this bill started out as an opt-out, and they thankfully changed it to an opt-in, so up to your discretion. 2593, this is a bill from last year that unfortunately the governor did veto and the legislature overrode that veto. So this is probably familiar legislation to you. It requires attorney general approval if you seek to join a contingency fee lawsuit. So that is now law. A couple of public safety, public health bills that we closely watched. House Bill 2250 allows the use of expired naloxone, so I know this is an important tool for first responders that they have and they use, and currently that product has a very short expiration date, even though it's good for many years beyond that. So this bill allows up to 10 years past the expiration date, so hopefully saves folks money and you don't have to go out and throw away a perfectly good product and buy new. 2365 adds kratom to Schedule 1 Controlled Substances Act, and so I know that's been a big public health concern, especially for kids getting their hands on that substance. And then the budget also includes $1 million for what's called the HERO pilot. This stands for Helping Emergency Responders Overcome PTSD, and so there's $1 million in there for evaluation and treatment costs for first responders as a result of trauma-related PTSD. So I think the intent is they'll kind of see how this goes for a year, see what the utilization is like, and then there may be a larger conversation next session about expanding that program and funding. And then lots of conversations this session again on housing. Of course, there were interim committees last summer to try to address this issue. I anticipate it will be probably one of the big topics of interest, it seems like, for the foreseeable future. Senate Bill 418, another one of those bills I think we passed testimony back and forth on several times as it went through several different iterations throughout session. Kind of started out pretty broad and pretty strict in terms of approval timelines and how fast you had to get approvals back to developers. I think the initial proposal was 30 days, ended up with 60. I know the city of Overland Park in particular was very helpful drafting some of these compromise amendments, so it wasn't quite as stringent on cities, but the governor did sign that. She also signed House Bill 2357. This is something that United Community Services of Johnson County has been really involved in working on, and it basically is a pathway to eviction expungement and allows for expungement of evictions after 3 years if a renter has made restitution and has not had a new eviction. And then one that we are not so excited about, and but really this was directed primarily at the city of Lawrence by the Kansas Association of Realtors. This is Senate Bill 391, and it would prohibit cities and counties from adopting any type of ordinance designed to protect renters. So the governor vetoed that, and surprisingly the legislature did override it. There was a pretty good margin in the House, but they somehow came up with the votes too. So. And then a few things that are dead. Several concerning elections bills that we testified against early on in the session. One of those being changing everything to even year elections, and then another one that would have not allowed you to use any public resources, time, et cetera, on any kind of bond issues or ballot questions. It was written really broadly. Both of those issues are dead. The next is an issue that came out of the Tax Interim Committee last summer, making some changes to the countywide retailer sales tax apportionment formula, and that fell apart literally at the last minute. It was after 1 a.m., so you will not see any changes to that this year. That will probably come up again next year, but for now, it's operating as you usually would. And then SB 197, you would know this is House Bill 2343. We have submitted testimony on this now, I think for the last 2 to 3 years. This was that no impact home-based business bill. And again, it got really close to the finish line, but then didn't quite make it. So I think local government's very happy about that. And then really ever since COVID, we've seen a lot of legislation that would make some really sweeping and stringent changes to public health officers and schools and things like that. So there was a bill that would have really been very stringent on public health officers and made some changes to the vaccine schedule. So that ultimately is dead and was actually never debated on the floor of either chamber. So, and then lastly, so just kind of looking ahead now that the legislature's gone home, again, we're waiting on the governor's response on a couple of those tax bills and a few other things. I've already mentioned that it's an election year, and generally that means that things at the State House are a little bit quieter than usual, probably not quite as many interim meetings or activities because everybody will be keen to be back home in their districts knocking doors. The one thing we do know that will probably meet relatively regularly is the Education Funding Task Force. I think as we all probably know, this current school finance formula expires next July 1st, 2027. So that task force met all last summer and fall to start talking about that, and I suspect they will spend some of the summer and fall doing that too. So happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ms. Lewis? All right, thank you for the update. Okay.
I have a follow-up comment.
Oh, yes, please go ahead.
For the next time we meet, can staff or can you send out an email just on what the short-term rental bill means for the regulations that we have in place? So when we start to get questions about that, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, yes, go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. This is first asking about that.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Okay, I have another question now.
I apologize. I just wanted to say that tonight you read two proclamations, one about kindness and one about safety. And I wanted to thank our Merriam residents who showed up tonight, who would like that to be shown upon our residents, our visitors, and our our people who come to our residents, our city to work. And I just want to let you know that I heard you.
Thank you. Okay, looks like we're, I think, up for council items. For my knowledge, then yours. Consider purchase of a Skydio extend drone. I guess is the chief's coming forward with that one.
Evening, Mayor and Council. In the 2026 budget, I had requested funds to replace our current DJI drone, which we purchased in 2019. As the background information states, the drone is currently functional. However, in 2025, the state legislature passed Senate Bill number 9, which mirrored a federal law which prohibits military and federal law enforcement from buying drone technology from countries of concern. The state of Kansas adopted that language and said that law enforcement agencies within the state of Kansas will no longer be allowed to purchase drones and or equipment, parts, or anything else for drones that were manufactured in countries of concern. China is a country of concern. DJI drones are manufactured in China. So therefore, our drone is only as good as long as we keep the propellers on it, the camera's working, and when it hits something, it will be done. So we budgeted to replace that drone with a drone that will meet the requirements of Senate Bill number 9. And also in 5 years, the technology has gotten much better. So we did our research, and we are recommending the purchase of the Skydio X10 drone through Axon. This drone has a lot more capabilities as far as it relates to range, loiter time, and camera functions. And it also is compatible with our Axon body camera in-car camera system, which the video would be downloaded into for evidentiary purposes. Additionally, we are also, if this drone is approved, we also, the next item will be a grant to pay for $10,000, a little over $10,000 of the cost of that drone. Any questions? We have to answer.
Any questions for the chief? So, okay, go ahead, Shirley.
I just had a question on the service agreement, because it looks like the purchase includes 3 years. And so then we would need to re-up that, or and maybe not be the service agreement, but whatever it was.
Yes, it's a 3-year contract, so 3 years covers the software, updates, everything else has updates all the time. And then maintenance, so that if we break the drone, then there's a maintenance contract that allows Axon to fix it for no or reduced cost of what's broken on it. And that's a 3-year contract. Once you will be probably renewing that at some point in the future. But that doesn't mean we have to buy a whole new drone.
Right, we would just renew that at 18,000 or whatever. Okay, just wanted to check. Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Go ahead, Shirley.
What will happen to DJI when we decommission?
He will be put to rest. We're not allowed to do anything with him other than just destroy it. So
Rest in peace.
we're going to continue using it until it's no longer usable. So we definitely will have ability to use 2 drones, but yeah, once he dies, he dies.
Any questions at this point? If we have no other questions, I would entertain a motion. Go ahead, Michelle.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve the purchase of Skydio X10 drone.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Mr. Silver?
I'll second that.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion, second.
Councilmember Hans.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shabeta.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like, maybe the next one is good news for us.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'm really good at spending money, so, but I also made a promise that where available, I will find us some money. And my staff did an excellent job of doing some research, and we found a local organization. It's a completely private funded organization that helps purchase equipment for local law enforcement and first responder agencies. The name of that organization is called Hero Fund USA. They're a nonprofit, and they provide up to 50% reimbursement cost of equipment, which is for the Skydio drone comes out to $10,116 that they are willing to give us for the purchase of this drone. It's not half of the $40,000 because they don't cover things like software maintenance agreements, it's just equipment only. So we would like to engage with them and accept their $10,116 for the purchase of this drone. We approve the acceptance of the grant.
Any questions for the chief? Considering getting some free money? I would entertain a motion then. Michelle?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council accept the Hero Fund USA grant in the amount of $10,116.
We have a motion, we have a second? Go ahead, Michelle.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Okay, Madam Clerk, we have a motion, a second.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder. Aye. Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shabeta.
Aye.
Councilmember Hans.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like the next item of proceeding is consider approval of purchase of property. And Mr. Eagles, come to the podium.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Next item on the agenda is consider approval of purchase of real property located at 5717 Kessler Lane. You can see the property there. Am I in control or you? Always in control. It's always a safe bet. It's always a safe bet. So the property at 5717 Kessler Lane is located in downtown historic Merriam. It's immediately adjacent to the city-owned property at 5713 Merriam Drive. As you can see to the left of that picture, which would be north with the purple X, the subject property is a red X, and it is immediately across the street from city-owned property at 5701 Merriam Drive, former site of the community center. Property is currently owned by Kessler Lane LLC and has a lease with Dare to Dream Holdings, which is doing business as Dare to Dream Motorsports. That lease is in place and expires, the current lease expires July 31st of 2029, and the lease holder, the tenant, has a tenant's option to renew that additional 5-year term that would expire then on July 31st of 2034. But we can negotiate that, so we'll address that here in a second. In September 2025, the property owner reached out to the city, letting us know that city was on the market, or that the property was getting ready to go on the market, see if there was any interest in the city picking it up. We had some conversations about that. We discussed the potential future outcomes if the city were to buy that property, as you will recall. We had some conversations about equally that if what would happen if the city did not buy that property. We also discussed some of the possible future implementations of the comp plan, impact that could have. There's road realignment down there, any future proactive redevelopment that we could play a role in. We also discussed those options. After plenty of discussion, the key point of agreement was the city could best assure the future highest and best use for the residents of Merriam if we were to go ahead with the purchase. The key points being its location in historic downtown and its immediate
the adjacency to two other already city-owned properties, which we always try to seek out when those properties come on the market. We shared that information with the city's third-party broker, Mr. Orrick. Mr. Orrick was able to negotiate a sale price of $1 million plus closing cost on that. Mr. Orrick was also able to negotiate an agreement with the tenant, which is in the packet, that would terminate that lease. With termination of that lease, we have worked extensively with the tenant. Tenant will find a new location over the course of the next 12 months, so we would let them stay rent-free for 12 months, continue to do their operations, and then we would give them $40,000 for relocation. So that is something that they agreed with. We negotiated that with them, and you can see the agreement that's in there. That termination of lease is contingent only on that the property be closed on by May 31st of 2026. So if the council should choose not to purchase this property, that agreement, which I've already went ahead and signed, will just disappear. That being said, we're asking for a not to exceed amount of $1,050,000. That would cover the $40,000 for relocation of the tenant, plus closing costs, which we project to be about $4,000, as well as the sale price. You can see a couple of adjacencies to the floodplain. You can see this is one of the few properties downtown that is not in the floodplain, which we think is added bonus in downtown. Next slide. Here is the summary of all of those things that I think I've covered. Most of those are going to be in the agenda item where I've covered them. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Any questions, Mr. Rabel?
My only question really isn't about the agreement. It's more about the easement, but so many people are using the easement that must belong to the railroad, right? And I noticed in the notes it says we assume it's all copacetic, it's all okay?
That'll come out in title research when we go to title.
Okay.
We'll do the research on that.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Mr. Rabel? See, well, I would entertain a motion then on this item. Ms. Yardage.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve a real estate contract with Kessler Lane LLC for the purchase of 5717 Kessler Lane and the contract with Dare to Dream Holdings LLC to terminate the lease at 5717 Kessler Lane in a combined amount not to exceed $1,050,000.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Ms. Parker, go ahead.
I'd like to second
We have a motion and a second.
that. Councilmember Ryder. Aye. Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Hands.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item is approval of agreement with Michael McDonald. We have Dr. Cookie at the podium.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item and the second item are all related, so I'm going to go ahead and give one presentation, but happy to answer any questions on either item. So routine traffic signal maintenance is provided by Public Works crews. However, there are some services that we need additional expertise and manpower. That would be installing, if a signal pole or a mass armor cabinet is hit and we need immediate installation, or major diagnostics of traffic signal equipment. So for example, if the signal goes into flashing mode, our guys will go out and try to diagnose it, but sometimes we need that additional expertise to look at that. So those are the primary services that we would ask a contractor to provide. So in December 2025, we went out for a request for proposal. We received 2 proposals from contractors, and a selection team consisting of Public Works staff reviewed them and selected Black & McDonald based on their previous experience with the City of Merriam. The agreement before you is our standard professional services agreement with some modifications. So it includes our equipment and labor rates, response times required for emergency versus non-emergency responses, and requires all personnel to have certain certifications to work on our signal equipment. If you approve the agreement, it would be for 1 year with the option to renew up to 3 additional years with written agreement of both parties. The second item on this would be, if you approve the agreement, then we would ask you to consider contract award to Black & McDonald for the removal and installation of the 57th and Antioch traffic signal mast arm pole. That was hit, and based on an inspection, we determined that the integrity has been compromised, so that if it gets hit again, you know, it could come down, and we don't want to worry about that public safety. So we have the signal purchased, and if you approve this contract with them in the amount of $49,291.80, then they would go out and remove the existing one at 57th and Antioch, install a new base, and move it behind the sidewalk. So hopefully in the future, we don't have any large vehicles that hit it. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Company? Go ahead, Michelle.
I have a question on the 57th and Antioch. Which side of the intersection is it? On the Merriam Town Center side?
Yes.
And then north or south?
It's northwest corner.
Okay. So someone had it when they were pulling in potentially?
Yeah, and it's pretty tight anyway.
Have you just replaced that last year?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, I thought it said, oh, the pole was previously purchased
Yes,
at a city.
okay.
Got it, I missed
Okay,
that
I
part.
hope I didn't write that
No,
in there.
sorry. And so we'll move it behind the sidewalk then?
Yes.
Right, thank you.
Thanks.
Just out of curiosity, do we know who hit it, and are they paying any of this expense? Or the insurance company?
I don't know exactly when it happened, but it was before my time. And so at this point, I don't think we can go back, unfortunately.
Go ahead, Mr. Stokes.
I was just wondering if I could get some clarification. So the first part of your presentation, I believe it said that to bring them in as a contractor, it's $165,000.
That's no, not necessarily. That's our whole signal budget. So that's how much we could spend on that, but we don't anticipate that.
Okay.
It would just be, you know, certain certain
Per
items
project.
that would come out
Okay.
during the year.
Okay, that makes sense, because I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out,
Yeah.
why would we be paying, the company $165,000, almost like an insurance policy, but that makes sense. So
It would be on an as-needed basis.
Yes, so thank you for clarifying.
Sure.
Any other questions? We'll handle these separately as far as motions, but any other questions for Company? Okay. See any- Yeah, I would entertain a motion, as far as the agreement. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve an agreement with Black & McDonald for traffic signal services.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second for that. Go ahead, Ms. Schmidt.
Mr. Mayor, second.
We have a motion second, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Hans.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Rader.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like, the next one will be the motion itself, so we want to replace that, item. Is that correct, Ms. Schmidt?
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council approve the removal and installation of a traffic signal, sorry, my microphone is messing up, traffic signal mast arm pole for the 57th and Antioch intersection with Black & McDonald in the amount of $49,291.80.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Go ahead, Michelle.
Mr. Mayor, second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Aye.
Councilmember Hans.
Aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. It looks like next item up is consider approval of a pollinator grant program. All right. Moving forward. Let's talk about this.
Hello, Council. This proposal is essentially an extension to the current grant we offer through the Johnson County Contain the Rain program. This grant would, as I said, expand on this grant. It would add to the native planting section, include extra language that we are allowing pollinator plantings. The purpose for that is mostly just to expand awareness for anybody who would want to plant a pollinator garden or something similar, but we're unaware that the Contain the Rain grant could apply to that. The grant has a list of plants that are currently applicable for the program, with a significant overlap to several native pollinator plant lists that are put together by other organizations. The larger part of this expansion would be the B Hotel section. So this would be a full new part of it that would apply for if residents want to put up or construct a B Hotel. We would be reimbursing 100% of the costs up to $50. As this is not related to the main part of the Johnson County Contained Rain Grant, we would not be asking the Johnson County reimburse us for this. We would be covering the cost ourselves. Otherwise, we're not proposing an expansion to the current available funds, which would be the $2,225 that we offer yearly for this grant. And if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Any questions for that? I have one. What about our yellow jackets? Are they getting like a hotel or a condo or anything? Or
We've been considering putting up apartments, but currently we can't find funds.
Good answer. I'll let you hear. If there are no other questions, oh, go ahead.
I do have a question about Yellow Jackets. Will they use the B hotels too, since they're ground nesting or whatever?
There is a potential that they will. The bee hotels are specifically meant to help native pollinators that are ground nesting. Most native bee species are solitary. They do not form hives like European honeybees. So yellow jackets may be able to take advantage of them, but hard to say.
We've had issues in our yard. I'm just curious.
We'll just have them do short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Until the Yellow Jackets won't stay
Only,
long in the city.
only between May and.
Between May and the World Cup, yeah.
This stands just a bit.
I did have something that was important.
The bee hotels do have more than 2 rooms. They are applicable for transient
Awesome.
guests.
2 bedrooms?
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. I did notice that we are extending, we're in the agreement, it also says that we are going to allow staff to investigate and check for up to 3 years after an installation.
Yes.
That seems like a long time.
Those are the current provisions in the
Okay.
Container Rain program. So we have built in a requirement that anything made or purchased or constructed through the Container Rain program be maintained for 3 years with inspection from the city itself. That's mostly just to ensure that people are putting it up and actually using it rather than, you know, getting $1,000 for a rain garden and then tearing the whole thing down a couple months later.
And I apologize for not,
I just need to add to that. That is a county requirement.
okay, good.
Thank you.
And I didn't take time to look up what bee hotels are usually made of, so are they?
There are several like bee hotels you can purchase that are pre-constructed. These are usually made out of wooden blocks or other natural nesting materials. Johnson County recently put out a call for artists for artistic bee hotels for the county itself. They had a large list of requirements. In those requirements, they specified that hotels had to be made out of wood or plant material. I believe they mentioned like sunflower stalks. Essentially anything natural that you can drill a hole in or put some kind of tunnel in.
Go ahead, Mr. Lee.
What's our provision, even for just the Contain the Rain program, for applicants to apply again? Like if you put in a rain garden and then wanted to grow it the next year, could you reapply for the grant? So it's really on a per annual basis? But are these caps lifetime or just annual caps? Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Let's move forward. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the council expand the Contain the Rain program to include a pollinator grant program.
We have a motion. We have a second. Okay, Ms. Ryder.
Mr. Mayor, a second.
Madam Clerk, we have a motion.
Councilmember Hans.
I am delighted that Mr. Jake was available to put together something that we are really going to support. So I vote aye.
Councilmember Leahy.
Aye.
Councilmember Ryder.
Aye.
Councilmember Silvers.
Aye.
Councilmember Yodridge.
Aye.
Councilmember Shavetta.
Excuse me,
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Looks like next item up is staff commercial, April CIP update. What do you?
The April CIP update is in your packet, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. I did want to point out the Quail Creek Street Improvements Project. The contractor is planning to start mid to late May, so we're finalizing a public meeting. It'll most likely be Tuesday, May 12th, but I'll get that out once I confirm that. And then we're gonna have a pre-construction meeting coming up next week, so getting ready to gear up and move forward on that project.
62nd Terrace, Antioch, what's the status of that? Is that will be open?
Well, it was supposed to be open Friday, and we went by today and it wasn't open, and they said that they're working on getting their traffic control company out there to open it up. So it'll still be a lane drop on Antioch, but it should be open. It was supposed to be open tonight. Hopefully it'll be open tonight or tomorrow.
How long's the lane drop gonna be on Antioch?
They
You know.
said through the 24th.
Next
This
Friday.
is for Evergy
Yeah.
conduit to be installed.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we're just jumping all around. Is there any hint at all about getting the invoice on the undergrounding of utilities?
An invoice?
Yeah. Any hint of the timing?
No, but I'm gonna reach out to them, and then it always takes a little bit of time, but I'm gonna start, I'm sure it'll take them a little while, but kind of start prodding them to get us that invoice.
Surely they've been paying the contractors. Somebody has to have a spreadsheet somewhere.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Silvers.
I just wanted to thank you and your team for the wonderful job that you all did on the 49th Street project. I know it's challenging and went longer than ever expected, but it looks great.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have two more.
Two more questions, well, please.
I know.
Share with us.
I know. So, I want to comment that with the traffic flow, because of the detours of the 75th Street Bridge, which we heard about earlier, the speeding concerns, but the traffic flow, I got a call that I don't usually get, and it was, I am so excited. I'm very entertained by the police presence on 69th Street, and that people are actually being stopped. And so I thought I would mention that here.
Good.
Because we've all been dealing with that.
Yeah.
And then my second thing is, are we suspecting that the increased train horns that we're hearing is because of the Carter construction project? I know we put in requests about it, and it got quieter, and now it's noisier.
I noticed that, and I wouldn't think Carter because they're really not next to the track.
So it might be the train or the bridge repair? I mean, why?
I don't know. I mean, we've been trying to communicate with them, and we don't always get good answers, because they don't always track when they load their horns because it's the individual conductors. So we tried to get a report from them, but they haven't been able to generate that for them. So I can try to do more follow-up, but I don't really, I don't know for sure.
I have to say, it is not, it's my own personal observation, it was not resident generated at this point, but it will be.
I noticed that when I was coming into work today on 67th, they started blowing their horns. I don't really know why.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, great, sure.
I just wanted to say thank you for answering all my questions about Water One, that's been going on in our neighborhoods.
You're welcome.
And 61st Street does look great now that all the sod's growing in, it looks so good, so, yeah, thank you.
I did want to point out that just on our borders, just on 61st Street, just on the east side of our borders, there's a pipe that Overland Park's gonna have to repair, so you'll probably see some traffic, so once I get that, I'll let everybody know about it right away.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is just an informational item. Park and Rec Advisory Board minutes were in our packets. No one has any questions for Director Slayton? I don't think we have executive session this evening, but Mr. Eagle, anything from staff?
Just a couple updates, Mayor. Wanted to let the council know that the city has closed on Casey Strings properties, all 4 of them. And as of Thursday, Casey Strings has closed on new property just to the east of Merriam Drive across the street from Sonic. So their relocation will take place within Merriam, which I think is what we all had ultimately hoped for. So that's good news. Also, we've got our State of the County tomorrow afternoon. A couple items at the community center. First community concert series will be this Thursday, and then we've got free day at the community center on Friday. Next week is our large item pickup from the 20th to 24th. Same calendar pickup schedule as usual, but it is available online, as I assume will also be pushed on social media. And then last, we will have our first steering committee of our downtown master plan process. Will be on the 21st, which is next Tuesday. So we'll be pushing all of that information out on all of our media channels as we normally do. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, Mr. Rabel? Questions for Mr. Rabel?
Might be able to beat the rain.
Yeah, well, here we go. So we well, there is something. I would entertain a motion for adjournment. Ms. Shire.
Mr. Merriam, move that we adjourn.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Ms. Haynes, seconding this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned.
We can help you then. Let us know.
Have you guys heard of the Alpha cameras?
Sorry, what?
Have you guys heard of the Alpha cameras? You spoke about the immigration thing, right?
Yeah, I spoke about immigration. So, no.
So ICE has been using flock data.
Yes.
Across the country.
Absolutely, they have.
Merriam, I don't think uses flock, but I've seen flock at Home Depot.
Yes, Home Depots and Lowe's.
Yeah,
for
so
sure.
the whole shopping center over there has like 5 or 6 of those things.
Yes.
I don't think Merriam's operating them, but I don't know if the company Merriam uses is cooperating with us and sharing that data. You know, and like it's not like those cities that use flock specifically said, hey, we want to work with ICE. It's just some city somewhere gave ICE a password to log in.
Oh, yeah.
So once that data is collected, it's ripe for abuse. And so I've been speaking against it for ages. ALPR is what they called it before AI was a thing. The automatic license plate readers. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Okay.
but yet they grow the network, and the Kansas legislature put a section in open records to conceal the locations and purchases of those cameras. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Yeah, there's state laws have been doing some extreme things.